It's one of the most frustrating things that you hear as a leader or manager, where people feel like, oh, I don't know what my job is, or I feel like the priorities are constantly shifting. And I've had so many conversations with leaders or managers, I've been there myself, where I'm like, how can that possibly be? We've had so many conversations. We've talked about the objectives so many times, and the OKRs and the KPIs and the team goals, and we've had so many meetings and stand-ups and handoffs. How can it possibly be that people don't know what their job is and what their priorities are? So our primary focus in this course is to show you how to have these alignment conversations and to create those agreements with your direct reports at whatever level you are in the organization today. So what we mean by alignment is for a manager and a direct report to feel really clear about why that role exists. What we found over the years in working with all levels of leaders and managers is that this is a difficult conversation to get into because we're so focused on the tasks and the projects and the milestones, all the things that are in our inbox and all the fires that we deal with day to day, that it's difficult to step back and think about, wait, why does this role exist in the first place? What is the unique contribution that this role makes to the team and to our overall objectives? We have so much going on in our head, there's already so much history, so much has happened, that it's very difficult for us to separate the person that is in that role today from the role itself. So much of achieving good alignment actually has nothing to do with the person who's in that role today. And the way you actually create a healthy working relationship is by separating them, is taking a step back, both you and them, to say, hey, wait a second. Why do we have this role? Why does this team need this role to be filled? So everything about achieving good alignment is about separating at first the role. What does it mean for that role to be aligned with the team, with you as the manager, and with the organization? And then secondarily, we'll get into talking about, well, how does that person think about that role for themselves and their own growth? But by separating them, and you could say depersonalizing it, that's how you create good alignment between you and your team. When you and one of your direct reports are misaligned, there are a lot of things that go wrong as a result. But most importantly, the thing that happens is disengagement on one level or another. When somebody doesn't understand the purpose of their role, they don't understand why the work that's in their inbox is there, what's important about it, how to prioritize things, what they have control or ownership over and what they don't, the first response is going to be to disengage on some level. Even if they like the company, even if they maybe like you as a manager, where they feel like, I just don't really know what my job is about. I don't really have something that drives me day to day that I can feel anchored by. So the process of getting aligned with them is how you start to close that gap. What you're going to find is so many good things come from having these good alignment conversations and creating these agreements. The first is you're going to help this person who's in that role today feel like they have a mission for that role, that they have a purpose beyond the tasks and the things that are in their inbox and all the things that they have to deal with, all the day-to-day work, that they're going to feel, maybe for the first time in their career, that there's a mission to their role, there's a purpose, and that there's a why that drives them as they go through all that day-to-day work. The second thing is you're going to start to see people make decisions and take risks that they otherwise wouldn't have. So by understanding the nature and the purpose of their role and being clear with you and coming to that agreement, but the things that you used to have to intervene on, you're going to start to see people do for themselves. The third thing that you'll start to see as a result of these good alignment conversations is the team is going to come to you with a different set of questions. Rather than coming to you for approval or validation on things that you think they should handle for themselves, they're going to start to come to you for help on things that they genuinely struggle with. But it's only because you've had that clarifying conversation, you've gone through the alignment process, and you've set the bar high for what excellence looks like in that role. So they should be coming to you with a really different mindset of, hey, I understand that's what you're looking for from this role, and I want to get there, and here's where I'm struggling. So let's spend a couple minutes talking about the benefits for you as a leader or manager from going through this process. The first is it's going to give you an opportunity to carry forward the work that you did in the authority course and this idea of more Yoda, less superhero. Because what you're going to find through this process is you'll start to see the places with each of those roles where you tend to be more superhero, where you tend to fill in the gaps on that role. The second thing that will result from that is you'll start to see more headspace. And again, that's one of our core goals here. It's not only about helping your team grow. Yes, you want to do that, but it's also about you and your goals and how are you going to advance. And you can't do that if you're constantly filling in the blanks for people. And lastly, this is an opportunity to practice setting clear expectations. Once you have the alignment conversations and you've created that agreement, you've created the backdrop. So you don't have to wonder anymore, what should I be giving feedback about? You should be giving feedback about that agreement. And remember and focus as you go through this process, it's not so much about the tasks and the projects and the actual work. It's about everything around that. It's about what is my experience of my job and do I feel connected to it on an individual human level? In working with thousands of leaders over the years, we've found that achieving good alignment comes down to one thing, and we call that the soul of the role. And what we've seen when leaders and managers lean into this tool is nothing short of magical. People experience an entirely new level of engagement with the people on their team. That's where we're going to go next.